I'm in such a good mood, despite the fact the UFC has the audacity to take a week off next week, despite the fact that I just tried to sit down to film this without having fetched or set up my camera, despite the fact I've had the longest week of my goddamn life. There's a crisp in the air, like not Walker's, but autumnal. I've got my coffee, not even got a Monster, and I am thriving. That's cold. This has become more chaotic than I imagined it would be. Let's get on with this, shall we? This next few weeks are going to be like a one-on, one-off kind of scenario, but of course there are other organisations. 161 is in less than 2 weeks, I think. Bellator is coming to Dublin next week. The PFL is yet to crown this year's champs. I don't think they even know when that, like, what is their business model? We have plenty left to stay up all night for, and I have plenty more to talk crap about on the internet. You'll be thrilled and relieved to hear I couldn't not do one last UFC video before the fights dry up. I'm being dramatic, but if you don't know me by now, we have got ourselves a nice juicy fight to see us through the next 2 weeks. Anyone else nervous how much this coffee is splashing about? Still cold. For a fight night, this card is stacked like delicious pancakes. So let's freaking watch it together, shall we? Sandhagen versus Song opens another chapter in the complex bantamweight storyline that we're all eagerly watching unfold. Well, it's more like a few paragraphs within a chapter, because neither of these guys are quite ready for main character status at this point in time. But don't you go underestimating the supporting characters, because it's often the ones you expect least that do the murder. You figure out the rest of that analogy. It's brilliant. We've spoken about it before. I'm not going to go into crazy detail about the division, but it is a little messy right now. We're waiting to see what happens on October 22nd between current champ Aldo and former champ TJ. On the same card, we've got former champ Jan versus, I don't know, someone who's mostly talk and debacle. Sugar Sean O'Malley. Cheeto is obviously in the conversation due to his last win and just generally the dominance that he's shown in recent fights. And unfortunately, Jose is probably out of it, but just out of it. And then Merab is maybe just peeking in, but not quite. That's not what we're expecting to happen next. What are we expecting? Sandhagen is coming off back-to-back losses. One controversial and one not so. And because of who those losses were to, it's going to take him a couple of wins to work his way back into the conversation. But he's an incredible striker. He's always very fun to watch, and those fights were both very close. And before that, he won 7 of his first 8 fights in the UFC. A tear that included vicious knockouts of Frankie Edgar and Marlon Moraes. He is still a hot prospect. He is still, as many are in this division, just on the edge of just a little whoop. He just needs a win. And if he can work his way back and get the win tonight, then a rematch against Aljamain Sterling would be a great storyline, seeing as the one of the first 8 fights that Sandhagen lost. That wasn't very good structuring. First 8 fights, lost 1. That one was Aljamain Sterling. Don't Get me wrong, I'm not necessarily talking next unless Sterling loses to TJ and then maybe next, but a future thing. You keep that in the back of your mind. Over here. And surely, if we're talking about Sandhagen working his bay... Why is he working his bay? And if we're talking about Sandhagen working his way back into the win column, surely the number 4 ranked can get a win against number 10 ranked. In this fight, we have got one of the most powerful guys in the division and one of the most technical. As in, two different... I'm not doing a good job with speaking. In this fight, we have two guys, one of which is one of the most powerful in the division. The other is one of the most technical in the division. It's gonna be a good fight. Do not sleep on this fight. I don't think there's gonna be much grappling or wrestling, and I can see this one going to a decision, and I think that Cory will take it. You know, keeping it at range, picking Song apart. But wait, before we... Oh, I'm very sore. If someone could just... There's just a knot, right between my shoulder blades. I kind of need to rub myself against a tree like Baloo. I'm the king of the swingers, babe. She's lost her goddamn mind. You didn't think I was just going to talk about the main event on the card, did you? And then we'll just watch that and then be done with it. You know that I treasure our time together. Settle in! There are loads of great fights on this card before we get to the main event. And one thing I did want to touch upon is yet another miss on the scales from Aspen Ladd. Her biggest opponent thus far in her career has been her own weight. I'm pretty sure at this point she has missed weight more frequently in the UFC than she has hit weight. And like I said last week, so I will not labour the point, I don't agree with weight cutting. But if you sign that contract to fight at a certain weight as a professional fighter, it is part of your job to make sure you hit that weight, and her continuously missing weight is disrespectful to her opponent. You're taking food off that woman's family's plate, and disrespectful to the sport as a whole. Okay, your fucking act together. Whether that means admitting that you cannot fight at this weight class and giving featherweight another go. Maybe if you can't fight at your natural weight, maybe the UFC is just too big competition for you. Sort it out. Moving on. Just got all the grit at the bottom of my coffee. Sandhagen. Chidi Njokuani versus Gregory Rodriguez. Why can I not say Rodriguez? It's gonna be a long, long day. Chidi Njokuani versus Gregory Rodriguez. Heavy hands. Heavy, like they can't even hold the... Oh, my hands, they're so heavy. We just saw Gregory Rodriguez stop Julian Marquez inside of the first round at the immense UFC Austin card. Do you remember that? If you don't, go back and rewatch it. I remember it. I was on holiday in the Lake District with my family in my little single bed, and it was still one of the best nights of my life. Anyway, RoboCop, Gregory Rodriguez, is not looking to slow down the momentum, turning his attention to Chidi next, who is 3-0 inside of the Octagon. All 3 wins coming by knockout. Do not blink, ladies and gentlemen. What's not to like about a fight between two guys who just enjoy switching other people's lights out? Entertaining and eco-friendly. I don't think this will go the distance. And I am taking Chidi for the win. I just think he'll add another knockout to his streak. He has the reach and the experience of Rodriguez, and he's just on a really violent roll. The last fight I wanted to talk about was Giga Chikadze versus Sadiq Yusuff fight. Oof. what a banger. That would have been if Giga didn't get injured. In January, we saw Giga lose against the ever-impressing Calvin Kattar, who they've just announced will be coming back against Arnold Allen in October, the end of October. So on October 29th. So for Halloween, I will be dressing up as the various victims of Calvin Kattar's boxing. I saw someone say that Kattar catered Giga, Max catered Kattar, and then Volk catered Max. And that is both astute, accurate, and very, very funny. Despite getting handed the loss, Giga also got handed a fight of the night bonus, so he can't be too salty. But actually, in fact, he was very salty, immediately taking to social media and saying that if they were to fight 10 times, he'd beat Calvin 9 of those 10 times. Before he encountered a wild Kattar, Giga was rolling through the division, steam rolling through it. He was on a 9-fight win streak against some of the biggest names in sport. Edson Barboza, Cub Swanson. But Yusuf, on the other hand, is coming off of a win against Alex Caceres. For that, he lost to Arnold Allen. No shame in that. We've all been there. It happens to us all at some point. Do not worry about it. But before that, he was on a streak of his own with 6 wins in a row. As that fight has been cruelly ripped from us, I'm going to leave it to the MMA gods as to the last one we talk about. I'll let them present an exciting fight to me tonight. It could be Tanner I single-handedly brought back the mullet Boza. It could be Andre Fili and Bill Algeo. I don't know. So, here's some hold music while we wait for the UFC to wake the fuck up and give us some goddamn fights. We're back. It's about midnight. The broadcast team are doing their, waffling at the start of the main card, so I'll do my waffling at the start of the main card. We've had pancakes, we've had waffles today. You should be busting at the seams. Gross. Address the elephant in the room. These are Christmas pajamas. The real question is, why aren't you wearing Christmas pajamas? Andre Barrio, Fluffy Hernandez. Oh, I didn't realise that I'd missed the sound of the strikes in the apex. It's like thud. I need it as meditation audio or something. It really calms me. Real crisp thuds are coming in from Hernandez, who fought on season 2 of Dana White's Contender Series and wrecked the Beverly Hills Ninja Jordan Wright 40 seconds in. But then actually Barrio climbed him like a mountain goat on a cliff face. And now they're playing wheelbarrows. Fight is all over the place. We're only 3 minutes in. The result of that fight against Jordan Wright was later overturned because Hernandez failed a post-fight drug test, but they decided to sign him anyway. We're swanging in the phone booth. Hernandez is landing beautiful elbows and body shots. Did you see that combination? This Hernandez kid is like the superhero in The Boys who steals the other soup's powers. He submitted the jiu-jitsu specialist and now he's melting the cardio king. Relentless. Ooh, big strike from Barrio. That's his first one in about 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Now that was just rude. Hernandez is fighting like he's choreographed. Like this is a fight scene in a movie that someone has thought up and brought to our eyeballs. It is absolute freaking perfection. Oh, ooh, that shoulder pressure will not be tasty for Barrio. He has shown some next level toughness, but his physiology is the same as any man. Stupid weak man. Any human. So he can't sit in this for long. And he's limp. Oi oi. Little limpet. My main takeaway from that is that we should all be terrified of the evolution that we just saw. It was like when we watched Francis dominating the wrestling, it's like, no, we need you to stay in your lane because this is like the robots are taking over or something, you know what I mean? Shall we move on to being Joe Pyfer? Be Joe Pyfer! Be Joe Pyfer! What a story. And what a guy. He suffered abuse as a child, he ran away, sleeping on a bench, got a win and a tagline on the Contender Series, can't ask for more than that, and now he has his moment to shine in the big show. And patience is a virtue, gentlemen. That is how you shine on the big show. That was calculated, vicious, like a hitman was called out on Amadotski. Be Joe Pyfer. Coming to a t-shirt near you soon. Andre Feely, Bill Senor Perfecto Algio. If we're talking like height, weight, reach, these two are very evenly matched. I'm hoping this stays on the feet because I think they'll just like nullify one another on the ground, and that might lead to not such an exciting fight. But on the feet, I think Feely will slightly edge out Algio, but it's going to be competitive. Feely just likes to go high volume from the outside. He's more technical, whereas Bill likes to keep moving forward, turn up the pressure, just brute it out. And if Andre can keep up these leg kicks, go heavy on the leg kicks, keep Bill away, I think he can get the win on the judges' scorecards. Plus, Touchy Feely is just a freaking great fight name. Bill is such a vibe in there, he fucking loves it. Big head kick. Oh, in a desperate attempt at a shoot. You can't keep a good Bill down. You can't kick him again though. Way to stick to my game plan, Feely. Bill is having a lot of success with the hands in round 2. Feely heard me, got jealous, stuck him in the liver with a slapping shin. Both these guys must be getting full from eating all these head kicks. Whoa! We got ourselves a triangle. He's under the neck, so slick. Ooh. How is he not out? I can't believe I'm saying this after that choke attempt, but we'll see what the judges come up with. Feely. That Feely's right. So these two may be fairly fresh to the promotion, but they're both veterans of the fight game. DC lusting after Chidi is adorable. Have you heard his voice? Have you heard his voice? Have you heard his voice? But have you heard his voice? Oof, that was a big knee. But RoboCop cannot be stopped. Chidi is the younger brother of Anthony, who competes in Eagle FC. Both brothers are threatening strikers, as we are seeing here. We are leaking all over the shop. This is everything we dreamed of. Those knees are working for Chidi, and he is working those knees. Are they actually indestructible? You can see every thought he's ever had. And RoboCop is now fighting like a man who knows this could be taken from him any minute due to that cut. The ground and pound. That was a comeback now with yummy plasma coating. We'll see what the main event brings to us. Here's the thing, when Sandhagen was winning, the thing that like struck me the most was how organic he was. Fighting just seems to come so naturally to him. He always looks so relaxed. That allowed his style to always be super playful. But now he's lost twice in a row. If the pressure isn't getting to him, he'd be some kind of superhuman. It doesn't mean he's gonna let it impact his performance, but it could dampen the aspects of his game that made him so good in the past. No, spin, and oh no, he stuffed it. Big slip, like uppercut, feint into a hook from Song. Those hands. Song is a tough matchup for anyone. Like, we've seen him put guys away with ease, but we've also seen like next level toughness and weathering the storm. Sandhagen is like using his height and reach well, staying elusive like he always does, but Song is looking to put on that pressure, find a home for his power. Oh, that got his attention. Song's looking so well rounded. Sharp striking with power behind it. His takedown defense is on point. Gah. That was a perfect up elbow, but why do they have to bleed? When Song lands, it sounds like the cracking of a fire, and I'm transported to like a chalet, and maybe I have a hot chocolate and marshmallows instead of this black coffee, and I'm wrapped in blankets and I'm a happy gal. I've got a flump at my feet. He's dreaming, doing that little, you know. Sandhagen is showing his fight IQ. Like, he's definitely brought in more wrestling, showing more looks. As we go on, Cory's just edging away at on the scorecards. Even damage-wise, like, it may not be fair, but that cut is screaming at the judges. Hello? Don't put your fingers in the cut, Cory. What's wrong with you? Don't call it, don't call it, don't call it. No! I mean, Cory was winning it anyway, so I'm not mad. The question was answered. That was like an incredible performance. We saw new vibes from him, which should see him good against the likes of Aljo or TJ. So might he get one of those rematches? I think whichever one loses is probably a more likely matchup for him. Because like Piotr, Merab, Cheeto, they're all closer, in my opinion, to that title conversation. Did we have fun? If not, go watch that RoboCop fight and thank me later by liking, subscribing, following me on Instagram. The link is in the description. The UFC isn't back next week, but I am. You ain't getting rid of me that easily. I'll be bringing you another weird internet video where I show you like martial arts oddities that you've probably missed because they live in like the equivalent of like the deep sea, like deep sea, where everything's like still prehistoric and weird and has like one big eyeball and a light coming off its head. If that doesn't paint an accurate picture of what I'm talking about for you, I don't know what's wrong with your imagination, but I have a video like that already, which I will link on the end screen so you can kind of get a taste. But don't taste those fish, that would be weird.